related to discipleship and destiny?
Faith is when you ask a total stranger like me and are willing to listen. Trust is when you know at least a few things about the other person. Faith is when you are prepared to move in a total absence of knowledge. Faith is when you have no assurance of what is going to come your way and you are still willing to submit yourself. Faith is when somebody tells you that what you are doing is absolutely foolish, yet you know in your heart that there is no other way. Not only is there no other way, the particular way is not of compulsion. You are helpless not because you have been pressurized, you are helpless because you are in love. Faith is to know without knowledge. Faith is to realize without thought. Faith is to move without eyes. Faith is to arrive without moving. To have faith is to really wake up to life. Otherwise, that which we call as life is just an exercise in fear. There are only these two modes of living possible. Either you live in fear or you live in faith. If you say you don't have faith, then you don't even need to add that you have fear. It is certain that if you don't have faith, all you have is fear. That fear may be a very civilized fear. That fear may be a very decorated fear. That fear may be a very respectable fear. Respectable and acceptable both. But nevertheless, it is nothing but fear. Call it by the name of ambition. Call it by the name of duty and responsibility. Call it by the name of discipline. Call it by the name of hope. Call it by the name of identification. Call it by the name of thirst of knowledge. Call it by the name of security. Fear is just fear. Where there is faith, there all these sicknesses are not to be found. Normally, we just believe or trust. When you say that you have belief or trust, which is just an evolved version of belief, then there is always an object in which you believe, and that object is chosen by you. And behind your choice, there is always a reason. You say that you trust a particular man or woman because he or she has shown himself to be trustworthy in the past. So your trust is coming from the reason of experience. And that experience was certified by nobody other than you. You were the experiencer and you were the verifier of the experience. Hence, belief is nothing but remaining within your self-created prison. I believe in my holy book. Don't you see that you believe in it just because it is your holy book? Even in your holy book, the you comes first and holy book comes later. So by believing in your holy book, you are believing in nobody but yourself. And this yourself is again fictitious, a burden, a creation of circumstances, something that you are needlessly carrying, something that we all are better off without. Belief we are all right with. Faith makes us shiver and tremble. Belief is in our hands. To have faith is to leave yourselves in the hands of the unknowable. Now, first of all, it is dislikable enough to leave yourself in anybody's hands, and then to leave yourself in the hands of a total stranger is beyond the unthinkable. Faith is hence the unthinkable. Faith is to live like one lives in his or her house. Not to have faith is to live in this world like one lives in an alien land. Always trembling that one might be caught and deported. This fear of being deported from the alien land is also called the fear of death. The visa can expire any day. The date is not very clear. And then who knows who would come to take me away? One continuously lives in the fear of being torn away from the soil. To have faith is to live in complete assurance that you did not come to this world. You were always here and you would be always here. Time can make no difference to you, and hence time does not matter. To have faith is to beat death. Not to have faith is to just keep dying without ever knowing what life is. It's funny, isn't it not? One keeps dying without even living. Not even fair, right? Death was acceptable were it to come after life. What if death is followed by another death with no life in between?
How to cultivate faith if we have, for example, if I have been programmed for most of my life to cultivate fear.
You cannot cultivate faith. Faith is your natural state. You can only see yourself nourishing your fear and not support yourself in doing that. Conditioning always leaves you with a choice. Nature leaves you with no choice. Whenever you are acting as per your conditioned ways, you always have that iota of awareness of what you are doing. One never loses total sight of what is happening. So those who say that they get angry without willing to be angry, those who say that they slip without a willingness to slip, those who say that they made way for their desires without actively supporting their desires, are all just lying. Whenever you support your fear, there is always that little choice available. Don't cultivate fear, that is all. Faith does not need to be cultivated. Faith is there. Had faith not been there, I repeat, you would not have asked this question to me. Had faith not been there, the newly born child would not have taken its first breath. How does the child know that the stuff that is reaching its lungs is not poison? Had faith not been there, your eyes wouldn't have coordinated with your ears. Had faith not been there, you couldn't have been sitting here without thinking about whether the floor will hold. Whatever you can be with without thinking about it is a proof of faith. If you can be with a tree without having to think about the tree, it is faith. If you can be with yourself without having to worry about yourself, think about yourself, it is faith. Whenever you are not concerned about self-preservation, it is faith. And thankfully, we all get moments in which we are not worried about preserving ourselves. So we all already have faith. Just don't deliberately cloud it. Just don't deliberately put it away. And please, don't fall into the trap of cultivating yet another skill called faith. We already have cultivated too much in our lives. Let there be a little bit of the uncultivated.